Hey everyone, Brad Thorpe from Isophit. Today on Isophit Q&A, our question from the mailbag is, I have shoulder pain. What exercises can I do with Isophit to help strengthen it? Well, first foremost, shoulder pain is kind of like this broad spectrum of, wow, that could be many, many, many things, especially when you start to actually explore the structure. But we'll take a stab at what they actually mean, because it could be anything from rotator cuff issues to long head tendinopathies for your bicep structure. You know, it could actually be your tricep doesn't work properly, so that causes distraction at the shoulder joint. But we're going to give you a couple different options today. But when you look at the complexity of the shoulder, I mean, let's look at the architecture first, right? You got your humerus coming up, you got your on the back side here, you got your scapula, you got your clavicle here, and together that comprises and completes what we call the shoulder complex. Your shoulder blade, according to this form of therapy called muscle activation techniques, has about 34 different divisions of muscle tissue that attach to your shoulder blade alone. So it gets pretty complicated. Now, one thing I want to point out, when we're looking and discussing shoulder pain, the most important thing you can do to resolve shoulder pain is actually strengthening your neck. What? Yes, strengthen your neck muscles. The reason I say that is because you have all these muscles that attach to your neck that stabilize your shoulder. So if the foundation isn't strong and stable, shoulder mobility is going to become higher risk, right? So what can we do for that? So let's look at a couple exercises to start. And we've seen these ones before, but I'll just bring them back because they should be a classic exercise for you guys. So we're looking at cervical shoulder flexion to start, and we're just pulling that down. And that's going to help strengthen the anterior muscles. So you got this muscle in there called your longus colli. So this is really important to train that, right? You also have your scalenes in through here. So what we want to do with those, we just want to have a slight rotation, and you got basically anterior, middle, and posterior scalenes. So if you wanted to be really, really complete, you would then do multiple sort of positions. That's a little bit too low for me. So if I just bring that up, I can now do sort of that sort of middle and posterior scalenes in to sort of strengthen up those lateral sides of the neck. Now, from there, because I know we're supposed to be talking about your shoulders, so if we don't have a stable neck, as I said, we don't have a hope to have a stable shoulder structure. So there's this muscle down here. It's underneath your shoulder blade, so it's often never discussed. It's called your serratus anterior. It actually goes from ribs 2 through ribs 9 and runs down sort of that medial border of your scapula on the anterior surface. It holds your shoulder blade flat to your thorax, which is your rib cage. How do you train it? Well, it's not that hard actually. So what we want to do is lie down, and we are going to bring that arm straight up. We're going to pull it down towards your waist. So that's going to be one way that we target it, right? So it's protract as much as you can. So you want to get that protraction, and then you're going to press it in there. And I know people are going to say, but I was told it actually flexes and brings it all the way up. It's like, yeah, it does, but we're just giving you a starting position here. So we're going to go from here, learning how to get out of the position. Then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of spin around, right? Actually, I'm going to slide further out. And I want to now reach back and press down. So reach, and you want to protract as far as you can. Yes, and protraction can go up. You might want to think in terms of elevation. It's just a different name to say that movement. And just pressing down. So those are going to be two key exercises that you guys can do to start stabilizing your shoulder structure. Obviously, there's a ton more stuff we can do, and we'll get to those in future episodes. But what I want to leave you guys with, I'll just pick up my hat there because my hair is an absolute mess. When looking at the shoulder structure, you got to stop stretching it, right? Stop loosening it off. That is one of the reasons people keep hurting their shoulders. Because if I loosen this off, right, instead of increasing the contraction of that structure, it leads to distraction, which is a pulling apart. So imagine your nerve structure and the signals that go from the nerves to your muscles, right? So basically, you have your dendrite, the end stuff, and then you have the muscle, and there's like this synaptic cleft between it, and you have this chemical signaling. Imagine that swimming pool was 25 meters, and all of a sudden we made that swimming pool 50 meters. But these things could only swim 25. What happens is that nerve signal dies off. You lose the ability to generate force in your muscular system. That leads to distraction, a whole bunch of other stuff, and it puts you at risk of further injuring your shoulder. So try those little simple steps, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Isofit Q&A.